Welcome to Discovering. 18,000 brown trout find a new home in Lake Michigan.
Fish, which in the past have been planted along the shoreline and the Menominee Marina, basically they just get hammered by the birds and walleye in the spring. So the goal this year is to get these out approximately 2 to 3 miles. We're looking for 60 feet of water today, and we're going to let them go.
Then it's an afternoon of early season river fishing.
Head up, head up, head up.
Stick around, it's Monday night and time for Discovering.
The secret streams that flow beneath the cliffs of colored stone, forest thick and healthy with birch and pine and oak, surrounded by the greatest lakes this world has ever known. The black bear's awesome presence as he roams the hills and fields, call of the timber wolf, the loon's lonesome trill, the eagle soaring high above, the trout lies deep and still. These are what I treasure, the only way I measure feelings that I have for this fine land. There is so much to discover when you're a long-time lover of northern Michigan.
You'll find groups and organizations across the UP working in partnership with the Department of Natural Resources on various projects like habitat enhancement and fish stocking, and doing so for the benefit of us all. I was invited to tag along on a unique brown trout stocking mission with the M&M Great Lakes sport fishermen out of the Menominee Marinette area. What made this project unique was the fact that it was the first, at least in recent times, attempt to transplant fish offshore.
So what we're doing today is we're doing a brown trout offshore stocking. Normally in the past practices, the brown trout are stocked on the shoreline of the Bay of Green Bay. And with the birds, cormorants, and walleyes in the spring running the shoreline, and now this year we've had a lot of northern showing up, we decided we could get some fish from Michigan DNR. We got 18,000 today. They're between 6 and 10 inch long, and we're going to offshore stock them. Each truck has approximately 9,000 browns in it. The pen net was staged last night next to the barge. So the first process is to put them into the net. The fish today came from, actually they've been on a 2-day trip. They came from Petoskey in Lower Michigan. They came up over the UP last night. They shut down in the hatchery and they got some new fresh cold water, and then they came to the Menominee Marina today. The fish are 6 to 8 inches long. Several of them are 10 inch plus, but the average size 6 to 8. The M&M Great Lakes Sports Fishermen has been around for about 36 years, local fishing club. We do a lot in the community to support fishing, obviously. Anywhere from our kids fishing derby, handicap fishing derby. We have 2 pen nets with salmon in it currently in the Menominee River that we're going to be releasing here in the next 3 weeks.
We're doing this project with the M&M Great Lakes Sport Fishing Club. These fish are about 4 or so inches long, and starting next year they'll be what folks refer to as jacks, and then in 2 years and 3 years is when these fish will be really big and the king salmon that people are really after.
Total volunteer club, and people like Chris Plechik, who's running our operation today with his barge truck, totally volunteer. We don't pay for anything that we're doing here, and it's about rejuvenating the fishery of the Bay of Green Bay. This is the first Michigan offshore plant that the club's been involved in. Like I said, the Wisconsin DNR has been doing theirs via boat. The fishing club decided we'd grab the Michigan fish and do the same. The goal of the offshore stocking is to return the Bay of Green Bay with the brown trout hatchery to a more stable. It crashed about 7 or 8 years ago, the lowest we've ever saw it. And the offshore stocking program in Wisconsin has been proven it's working. This year, the Fishing Club Ice Out Derby, the winning fish was a 23-pound brown. Just to make the board for the internal ice fishing derby took 16 pounds. So when you're starting to get 16 to 23-pound browns in the spring out here, it's showing that it's working. One of the things we've done is during our kids fishing derby, we stock from a private hatchery brown trout in the Menominee Marina, and they stay in the marina for the kids to fish. But what we do is we do a study there. We put a flow tag in the back, a green flow tag. And studies have been proven that when the fish are released in the Bay of Green Bay, that they stick around this area. 2-year returns on some of the fish that are 10 inches have been anywhere from 24 to 30 inches long. So we know they thrive and survive in the Bay of Green Bay. And like I said, a lot of these fish will stay local, and they don't take off to the big lake. The Wisconsin DNR has been offshore stocking brown trout for the last several years. And it's been a successful program. So what we decided to do is we reached out to Michigan DNR, and we took their fish, which in the past have been planted along the shoreline and the Menominee Marina, and they just get hammered by the birds and walleye in the spring. So the goal this year is to get these out. We're going to go out approximately 2 to 3 miles. We're looking for 60 feet of water today, and we're going to let them go. The second process is to slowly but surely take them out.
Now, you know, there's Olympians and then there's a short.
We are monitoring the fish. We can see the fish in the pen net to make sure we're not going too fast. And the second thing is we do have an underwater camera, so we can see what's going on with the fish in the net. We're averaging right now at about 1 mile an hour heading out. So far, everything looks good. The fish look healthy. They seem to be swimming parallel with us with no issues. So right now, as we get onto this location where we're going to turn around and do the dump, the net's been pre-staged. We have a jib crane on the front of the barge here, and what we're going to do is we're going to do a 180 on the net. We're going to do a counter rotate of it, slowly but surely bringing them up, and then we'll rotate, and then we'll do the complete dump. And then any stragglers that are in the net will just flip out on the end, and should be a good release. All right, we made it to our location. We're approximately 55 feet of water. We figure we're about 2.7 miles out from shore, and we're about to release the trout into the Bay of Green Bay. From what we know, this hasn't been done in at least my generation, and I'm a young 28 years old. Here we go. See you in a couple years, boys. There we go. Good release. Yep, got a couple up in the corner. Get them out. Get them out. Most of the fish, when we initially release them, go right to the bottom. They'll stay down there for a good day or so, and then they'll start to disperse. The school itself, normally it'll take 2 to 3 days to disperse. Then they work their way out from there.
The Upper Peninsula is home to 12,000 miles of rivers and streams, most of them a great place to wet a line. It doesn't matter if that line is coming from a fly rod or a spinning rod, targeting trout, bass, or anything in between. The object is the same, to get out and fish. I spent some time on one of our beautiful rivers with Caddyshack fishing guide Chris Geswicki, his son, and some friends.
You know, it's such an awesome time to be in the Upper Peninsula. Right now we have steelhead fishing going on, we have trout season, and one of the things that are often forgot about or overlooked is the awesome smallmouth fishery that we have. So today we're on this beautiful river. The weather in the last couple of days has really heated the water up, so we have water that's sustaining between 48 and 52 degrees, which is ideal for smallmouth to come into the river to start spawning. So we've got a couple of youngsters here with us today that are getting ready to graduate high school and go into the military, so we're really excited and proud to have them with us. And then I've got my buddy Big Perm with us. So we're gonna sit here, we've got some spinning rods and we've got some fly rods with some big flies and heavy sink tips, and we're gonna try and pick us up some of these smallmouth today.
There he is. It's a pike. Oh, okay. Hey, pike is a pike. I'm sorry I got my fly line all shot all over the... That was awesome. You want some fire yourself? No. We got real clear water, we got a real high sun, and a fabulous north wind. There you are. That's what we're doing this for right here. Oh. Oh. Look at that. Oh. Oh. That is what we do this for right here. Look at that. Big, beautiful fish. Big belly. Oh, and are they fun. Like I said earlier, what an awesome time to be in the Upper Peninsula. Oh. And that's it, folks. That's what we do this for. Awesome. I was coming down here and you can see, well, you can't see, but there's a trough down here. And we come into this little back eddy. You've got the main river breaking left, the back eddy coming right, and there's a sand point coming off of this island. And you know, with the trees and the timber and the brush laying around there, there's some boulders over there. It was gonna be, I knew it was gonna be producing a big fish, and boy did it. She's sitting right in there, right off of that point. She's got the deep water to go to if she needs to flee, and she's got some structure laying around her and a good place to build her nest. And as fat as she was, I'm sure that's where she was going to. So I just knew that point was going to be good. Oh. Nope, just changed my mind on that one.
Dude, come here. Come on, come get this thing.
Hold on. Head up, head up, head up.
You could have netted him right.
There's your fish.
That's insane.
I told you guys it's the Steelhead River.
Join us.
Head up, head up, head up, head up,
Feel like you're at.
head up, head up. Ready?
Oh! What? No.
It's all bent up, isn't it?
That was awesome. It might have been on a spinning rod, but that was still awesome. Dude, that was nuts. You see that thing jumping? Oh my gosh. That was insane. That's awesome.
That was just a good release. Right out of the water, back into water. Human hands never even had to touch him. He is on his way.
Dude, he got me all bent.
So as I said earlier, we've got myself and my buddy Big Perm out here, and then I've got my son David and his friend Billy. We've got a variety of techniques going on. We got some couple of spinning rods throwing rapalas. We've got some spinnerbait, as you saw with the steelhead, which was just an absolute bonus to this whole day. The steelhead took the spinnerbait. I'm just a fly fisherman, and that's just how I choose to fish. You know, it's just my thing. I go with really big flies. This is called a drunken disorderly. It's tied by a guy. It was invented by a guy by the name of Tommy Lynch downstate on the Pier Marquette is his water. Very big fly, very big hooks. Just a lot of movement in the water. The fish just go crazy over these things. And I've used them for pike fishing. I've used them for bass fishing. They're my go-to in all colors and sizes, my go-to trout streamer. And anybody that's ever heard me on the radio or seen me in other TV shows, the streamer fishing is really my thing. So big flies, big fish, no doubt about it. So for the second part of this day, you know, we've done a bit of wading and we cast some spinner baits. We did some fly rod fishing with some big flies, some big drunken disorderlies and swinging D's.
So for the latter part of this trip, we have a big piece of water here that nobody has any access to, whether it's due to private property, the water's still high so you can't wade in, and there's a lot of islands and a lot of structure down here.
Oh yeah, look at that depth. Good stuff.
So the two younger boys grabbed their kayaks and they already shot out. We're going to take the drift down and we're going to start pounding these banks with some big flies, big swinging D's, big drunken disorderlies, circus peanuts, and with names like that, you got to catch a fish, right?
Well, we floated a beautiful stretch of river. If I could pick 10 things great about floating a quiet UP stream on a sunny afternoon, this stretch had 9 of them. Unfortunately, the one that was missing was the fish. But 9 out of 10 is just fine by me. Well, that's it for tonight. If you'd like to keep tabs on what's coming up on Discovering or see where we've been, go to 906outdoors.com. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next week right here on Discovering.